Well, it was a gorgeous, chilly evening here to the last day of practice for stop number 1 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit here on Sam Rayburn. We got Tyler Stewart with us. You're from just across the border there in Louisiana, so I'm going to just call you a local. We talked to you last year when we were here at Rayburn.
Right.
However, the big obvious difference is lake's a lot lower this time around. A little different.
It is a lot lower, but I wouldn't say it's any easier to catch a bass.
Really?
For me, I mean, it's been pretty tough the last couple of days. I don't know if the cold fronts messed them up or what, but it's been weird. I mean, I came up in pre-practice a little bit, and it seemed like it was a lot easier to get bites then than it is now, for sure.
You know, one thing, just kind of casually looking from afar and talking to some guys before the tournament, is it seemed like down in this part of Texas, there just hasn't really been winter to speak of. Like the water temps were a little warmer than they maybe should be for earlier in January. And then obviously this week we get a little bit of a cool snap coming through. In your mind right now, do you think that's just one of the bigger factors as to why maybe it's tough?
I'm not sure, because the water temp's still 58 degrees in a lot of
still
places.
Still pretty warm,
so,
okay.
I mean, this afternoon I saw 58 degrees, so you'd think they'd still be pretty easy to catch and up there shallow, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will catch them still, but it's just, I've been here before in January when the water temperature was that warm, and it was just really easy to get bit, and it's just, for me, it's just, I haven't found that this week.
Fill me in a little bit. You know, you've had 3 days of roaming around on this massive body of water, but what's the grass situation like this year?
It's not as good as it was last year, I think, due to the high water.
Sure.
But there's still a pretty good bit of grass in the middle section of the lake. As far as catching fish out of it, I don't know, because I ain't caught very many out of it.
The other, you know, I ask you about grass because that and the drains that are notorious here on Rayburn tend to be a winter deal. I mean,
right.
that's the way you can catch a lot of fish, but also there's an offshore bite that can happen. Did you look into that at all this week?
Yeah, I looked extremely shallow, and I looked pretty deep all 3 days, and it seemed like the fish were scattered out in all, you know, mid-range, deep, and shallow. So there's no telling how this tournament will be won. But if I was to bet on it, I'd say probably in a drain somewhere. So hopefully we'll pull up in that drain.
Well, the final thing I want to ask you about is, we got some weather coming in, which would be a standard FLW event, right? We got a little bit of rain coming. And then it looks like it's actually, as we get into the weekend, it's going to kind of warm up. Like our overnight lows are going to be kind of in the 40s, a little warmer than it has been. Just in your mind, what do you think we're going to see for the bite? Is that going to help things as we get into this tournament?
I think it'll help the bite a little bit, because we've had that, you know, post-frontal bluebird days the last 2 days, and I just don't think the fish have bit that good. So to have some wind and some cloud and rain will probably make them bite a little better than they have been in practice. So
I dig it. I dig it. Well, I'm going to let you get rolling. You can get rigged up, and we'll see you at registration tomorrow, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're now into the darkness, day 3 of practice. We got Chris Brasher with us. Chris, I feel like if someone I'm going to talk to today at this boat ramp is going to have a pulse on Rayburn, you're my guy. Is that a safe assumption?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. You know, I live pretty close, but I really only get over here about once or twice a year. I mean, I know the lake. I fished a bunch of tournaments over here, and the lake's just, it's really weird right now. You know, I think we hit it on a terrible week. The water's probably the coldest it's been all year.
Yep.
The water's coming up. The water's a little dirtier than it's been. And I think it's got everything kind of, you know, messed up a little bit. I think Thursday they'll bite the best they've been all week.
Sure, with that, we got a rain tomorrow, and it's supposed to rain even a little bit into Thursday, and then that's kind of when that front's going to get out of here Friday, and the rest of the tournament's going to be pretty nice. But you think Thursday it could go down if it's going to happen this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's been high pressure all week, and the first day was my best day. You know, the wind blew really hard, but it seemed like they were biting just about everywhere I pulled up. I'd catch at least one, and it's kind of gone downhill since then. I mean, I've caught fish every day, but it's just one here and one there. I hadn't really found a big group of them.
Okay, and that, you know, I talked earlier, the difference between last year and this year, obviously the water level is one big thing, but last year, because the water was up, there was a lot of, not a lot, but there were groups of fish, really big groups of fish in certain areas of the lake, and then you'd see like guys like Terry Bolton, most of the top 10 actually, Jim Tutt, fishing kind of one area, making the same cast. We probably won't see that this week. It'll be a little more spread out running around kind of fishing?
I definitely think so. I mean, last year, I think in 3 days, I found 6 places, and 2 of them ended up being really good, made the top 30.
Yep.
But kind of ran out of fish the 3rd day. But this year it's just not like that. You're not going to sit there and catch them cast after cast after cast. You know, the grass to me is decent in places, but it's not near as deep as it usually is.
Okay.
So those deeper drains don't have grass where those fish really congregate.
Sure. So it's more, the grass is basically shallower right now. So if you are fishing shallow drains, like the BFL that was won here a couple weeks ago was pretty much shallow, and it was that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think about the deepest I've seen in grass at all is like 7 or 8 feet, and that's very few and far between.
Gotcha.
Most of it's 6 foot or less.
Okay. Well, I hadn't asked this yet, but what do you think? We'll go with the winning weight first. What do you think is going to take to win this tournament?
I think somebody will end up catching close to 80 pounds, because I just have a feeling somebody will get on a deep hole and catch about 30 off of it, or a couple of deep holes.
Sure.
And I think it'll be one deep. Now, I think the weights overall are going to be down from last year.
I've kind of heard that. I've heard like 11 and change a day for a check. What's your take on that?
75th probably. I think top 50, somewhere around 12.5 to 13 pounds a day.
I dig it. Well, then again, this is Rayburn. You know, we saw some stuff happen last year that maybe we didn't expect going into the tournament. And, you know, with a lake with as many 10-pounders, 8+ pound fish in it as this one has, who knows what we'll see. But 80 pounds from Chris, man, I hope it's more than that. Good luck to you this week, and I hope you're catching it.
I appreciate it.